First of all, just give me a statement about why you decided to run again. I know you ran against Mayor Euchert 3 years ago, and why did you decide to make this bid?
Sure. Well, for two reasons. One, I just see so much potential for Lewisville that with an active mayor, we could really achieve. And our mayor, he is a very nice guy. He's a gentleman, but he's just not as active. He just doesn't have the desire to get people excited about living in Lewisville. So that's the type of mayor I would be. And then also, I actually waited until the very last day to see if someone else wanted to challenge him. You know, it's not a show about being in Winston, but you know, on the last day, no one had signed up, and so I don't think that it's right for the mayor to kind of be given the seat. I think the people need to choose the mayor, so I signed up for that reason as well.
Okay, all right. So give people a choice?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And what are the main issues that you're running on?
Sure. Well, you know, Lewisville, we've got a great city, but there's just so much more that a mayor who understands the true role of the mayor can do. You know, the city charter, I've been educating a lot of people as we go along, because if you look at the city charter, it specifically states that the mayor doesn't have any, unlike the council, doesn't have any type of administration duties. He is there to oversee the meetings and to vote in the case of a tie, which is very rare. I think Dean has maybe had to vote maybe 5 times in the last 3 years. But he is the figurehead of the city, and so as far as being out there and being visible and helping people understand what is exciting about Lewisville, that's what we need. We need, you know, for economic development and for a host of other reasons, we need a mayor who's willing to day in and day out get out there and promote the city. And I've had a lot of ideas and initiatives that we'll be able to do that with.
Okay, all right. Just give me a couple of your ideas, your initiatives.
Sure. Conversations with the mayor, that's obviously with my background on the radio, and I've also done some work with Time Warner Cable. These conversations, that's what I specialize in, and so I want to bring that to the city. I want to meet with each and every business owner that has a brick-and-mortar business and just have a little talk about what they do, you know, what they do here in Lewisville, what kind of business and services and products they offer.
And this you would put on the radio, is that what you're saying?
Well, no, for this, I'd film it and we'd put it online.
On the city's website, is that right?
Well, specifically YouTube and Facebook, but yes, certainly, it could definitely go on the city website. But I'm talking about reaching an audience that you know, not everyone goes to the city website. We've got a lot of citizens that I think would be interested and engaged, but we have to reach out to them. So, yeah, basically, I would love to be the first city to have a complete database of videos of each and every business. No one's done that. So
that's a lot.
It is.
That would take up an awful lot of time.
It wouldn't be overnight. You're absolutely right. But there's so many interesting. I mean, even for me, as engaged as I am, I'll come across a new business that I didn't know we had, and that kind of fancy recording studio here in Lewisville. I mean, we just got a lot of things. And so I think it's worth the effort. What would that
do, Winston? What do you think that would do? Bring business to these companies, or what would it accomplish to do that?
Sure. A number of things. You know, when we are shopping, we've got a choice. Do we want to save some money and buy something online, or do we want to shop locally? A lot of folks are going to Amazon and buying online, but I think if we show them a face, you know, show them the individual that has made a commitment to Lewisville, that is investing in Lewisville, you know, put a face behind that product. So yeah, maybe they might pay $3, $4, $5 more, but now they're connecting. Okay, this isn't just a faceless business. This is a person that is trying to succeed here in Lewisville. I live in Lewisville. I want to be a part of that success. So it's just a measure, one, to help encourage folks to shop locally, It's also an education measure to let people know what's here that they didn't even know they could get. Mm-hmm. And then also one of my other initiatives that we can talk about a little bit is trying to partner with tech startups. There's so many, I guess, the app economy with all these smartphones. You've got a lot of developers that are creating really interesting products right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I want to encourage tech startups to come to Lewisville. And so with this measure, I definitely see a tie-in where, for example, there's a gentleman that has an app called Shop Savvy. It's a very successful app. It lets you scan a barcode and it will show you where you can get the cheapest, online or locally. Mm-hmm. So I had a conversation with him and said, if we had this database of all these videos of business owners, let's say one of the products was available locally, maybe we could link to that video so people could see, okay, yeah, I'm comparing prices. It is cheaper at Amazon, but this guy has lived in Lewisville for 20 years. He's got a business. I'm going to give my money to someone locally.
I see. Okay, all right. And I guess why would they come to Lewisville? What would be the draw to bring them, say, from Dallas or
sure.
From the tech corridor in Edmondson and to Lewisville? What would bring them there?
Right. Well, as mayor, again, without the power of really being able to set law or again, it's a figurehead, there is a lot of power in just the position. And so the folks that I can convince to move to Lewisville, I want to brag on the tech startups that we have here in Lewisville. I want to help one of their problems, which is to get users to adopt this technology. I want to help with that. I want Lewisville citizens to know that, we've got kind of a partnership going on here. As mayor, I'm encouraging you to try to support the tech startups that we have here in the city. And you'd really be surprised at how, when they're looking at investment dollars and from venture capital firms, the amount of users that are on board and using their product or service, that really is influential in helping them get additional investments. So having a mayor that is outspoken, for example, we just had a technology symposium at the Studio Movie Grill last week where it rented out the largest theater they had. I had some of the really exciting startups here in the Metroplex come, and we, on stage, live with a live audience, and we filmed it as well, we just did some impromptu brainstorming about potential municipality and technology partnerships. And it's that kind of thing, that generated a lot of excitement. Maybe because we did a gong show segment in between each interview, so that was fun too. But, these are the types of things that I would do as mayor, have shows, make Lewisville more of a destination city.
Okay, all right. I'm wondering, with these, to encourage the startups, are you suggesting any kind of incentives, financial incentives, any tax breaks or anything like that? Is that part of your... I would support it. Of course, as mayor, I can't, shut down the law and tell people what's going to happen, but I would definitely be supportive of it. In fact, the article that I sent you a link to, I would love in Old Town to encourage a startup accelerator, which is a little different than an incubator, but very close, to move into Old Town. And I would be very supportive of providing some incentives, because what you have is really kind of steady flow. It's almost like school. So when school's in session, you've got a brand new class of startups that receive initial funding from this accelerator. They come to school, they're learning, they're helping to get their message and their pitch refined and their services refined. But you've got this automatic user base of creative energy in Old Town. They're going to lunch in Old Town. They're meeting some of the other business owners in Old Town. When they graduate, they bring a whole new group in. And so they have this continual cycle. That would be really powerful. I mean, we're always talking about revitalizing Old Town, and I think you have to think strategically. This is something that would be a great foundation, because you've got these classes continually coming through, and then other businesses can build on that. It would definitely be worth putting out some incentives to try to attract that. Okay, all right. So you're running on your ideas and your communication skills that you would bring, and your uh, just your innovative kind of ideas for the city.
Right, and Coach, the bird's eye view of all that is, I think we've got a lot to offer, and bring everyone together as a community where they're excited about what we're doing. They can perhaps watch some of these segments on our cable access channel. They're coming to these live events. That's how you bring a community together, and you start to harness their ideas as well. And so a very important piece of that, in my opinion, is our large segment that does not speak English in Lewisville. That bothers me. It's definitely hard to have a community if you can't even communicate with each other. Mm-hmm. And so one of my initiatives is encouraging the adoption of English as the official language of Lewisville. But it's a little different than, at least the way I've heard other people describe it. I want to do it in a way where we're simply championing English and putting it out there in a positive way that is encouraging and motivating of others to let them know, you know what, in Lewisville, if you want to be as successful as you possibly can be, you really need to learn English so you can join our community. Here's the mayor that wants to roll out the red carpet and welcome you to the community by saying, we all need to speak the same language so we can really, instead of being this fragmented community, we can come together as one community.
Are there any other cities that you know of that have done this?
Not in this way, not like this, and because I don't want this to be punitive or seem like it's a punishment. Really, it's more about providing tools. So, for example, I've already had conversations with Rosetta Stone, the software company that's probably the leader in learning a second language, about a joint initiative where we can perhaps team up and roll out some products that maybe discounted, and perhaps even they would, come as a trial, provide it free of charge, just to show what you can do when you set your mind to leveling that communication barrier. And so this is unlike some of the other things that I've seen in communities where it almost seems like they're trying to punish non-English speakers. This is saying, hey, I want to welcome you to the table. This is Lewisville. We want to have a single community with all different cultures. My parents are from Jamaica. I don't think anyone's going to ask them to, not eat the Jamaican spicy food or whatnot. Culture's fine, but again, communication is absolutely vital if you want to have a single community. Mm-hmm. And so I do know that the folks that have no interest in learning English, that really don't want to join the community, that may be here legally, mm-hmm. Championing English in this way is an incentive. Will really motivate them to move elsewhere where they don't have to deal with that. But the folks that are here, and there are a lot of them that are here that do want to join the community, this is saying, this mayor wants you to join. It's I'm not okay with you kind of cordoned off in this area by yourself. We want to welcome you to the table.
I see. Okay. Of course, that's been a big issue in some past elections about illegal immigration. But you're saying you want this to be just something that is offered, and maybe through the libraries or something like that, the Rosetta Stone, or
offered, but and also again, as mayor, I've got to. Pretty loud bullhorn, if you will. Yeah. And so being vocal about it and being supportive and really driving it home that we're not ashamed of English. This is the official language, but again, we're doing it in a positive way. Mm-hmm. So when you go back to what are my strengths, communication, and so I'm not going to get railroaded into what you've seen in other instances where people are saying it's racist and it's negative. Absolutely not. And I'm going to communicate and make sure that people understand this is a good thing and something to be proud of.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. What kind of reaction have you gotten when you've been talking about this out in the community?
Oh, great reaction. Very strong. And in fact, what I find encouraging, a little different than 3 years ago, I find that my conversations with folks that you would think are, ideological, diametric, we're actually agreeing on a lot of things. I have some support from a lot of folks that, maybe on a national level we disagree on policy, but here locally, because I want to focus on promoting and our businesses here in Lewisville and just, again, bringing some excitement. I've got some really great support from folks that I would not have guessed would want to get behind me. So I really enjoyed it.
Okay, well, that's interesting. If you had to point to something that clearly distinguishes you from your opponent, what would you say?
Ideas. At the various forums, I've asked a number of times, other voters have asked for original ideas. What, as a candidate, do you bring to the table that you would do, that you're coming up with? And of course, I have dozens because that's what I do. I'm excited, and this creative energy is contagious, and it's really great. My opponent hasn't offered a single original idea of his own. He kind of stands on the shoulder of our very amazing city manager and talks about what Lewisville has done. But again, the city charter shows that the mayor can't really claim responsibility for any of that. That's the city manager and the city council. So he claims responsibility for that work, and yet not a single original idea that he's brought to the table. So I think that's a pretty clear distinction.
Are there any areas where you think the city is taking a wrong turn? Do you have any ideas about, I know in past elections, economic redevelopment, just neighborhood revitalization, things like that. Is that part of your platform?
Well, not so much the city and the administration, city staff has taken a wrong turn. Of course, as an innovator, I always think we need to be looking at how we can improve things. But no, I'm more of the stance on how can the mayor lend his hand to those efforts. So, for example, we've got a group called the Hotels and Attractions Advisory Group, made up of all the hotel management here in Lewisville and some of the restaurants, some of those attractions. They get together once a month, and it's kind of this brainstorming session. What can they do as a group to encourage more visitors and more excitement to Lewisville? Well, I went to this group meeting, and I started throwing out some ideas, and they loved them. And they commented, in the 3 years that Dean's been mayor, he's never come to this meeting as mayor. Now, Dean said he's been to the meeting, but I guess it was before he was mayor. So in this 3 years, he's never been. That's something that as mayor I would want to do, because how can I lend my hand? You've got the folks that are in charge for the city of Lewisville, the city staff, to go out and try to get bids from sporting events to come use our facilities, or from big conventions that would come use our hotel convention center. And the mayor's never lent his hand to those individuals. I told them personally that I would be honored, and actually I would enjoy it, going out and visiting with those businesses with them. Let the mayor show how eager he is to get their business. I'd write letters if it would help them. I would, maybe the opening night, I'd come and give a speech and let them know that we're happy to have them here. Those individuals said that would be tremendously helpful for them to close more business. To me, it just seems natural, but our mayor, it's just not in his personality to do it, so he's never done that.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding you. You're not criticizing the direction or any policies or anything that the city is doing. You think, I'm assuming that you think it's well managed and
well, what I'm saying,
right back, but you want to kind of redefine the role of the mayor.
Well, not redefine. I want to get it back to how the city charter defines it, and okay. I get to go a little bit above and beyond that, but at least get back to that direction, rather than kind of make it look like you are the city manager, or you're responsible for those goals. And let me just, so what you had said, I'm not saying that I agree with everything the city is doing, but what I'm saying is I'm purely focused on how can the mayor, how can this role, who again can't vote anyway, how can the mayor help make Lewisville more successful. So, rather than try to criticize maybe what's happening as far as the actual administration, since the mayor can't vote anyway, I just want to be there and be a positive impact. And what I believe in, the conservative things that I believe in, for example, a smoking ban that the mayor supports and that some of the council supports. I don't agree with things like that. Trying to force what comes next? Are we going to require them to use less salt because that's not healthy as well? So, there are issues that I stand for, but again, this campaign, the focus is what would it be like if Lewisville had an innovative mayor, an active mayor that wants to get out there and really be involved and help Lewisville be successful.
Okay, all right. As you know, all cities have gone through some tough times recently, economically. Is there anything that if the budget has to be cut, do you have any suggestions for where it could be cut, or how do you feel about raising taxes to balance the budget?
No, I don't support raising taxes, but again, what I do support is, as mayor, helping with that. And there's so much that could be done. Look at Vista Ridge Mall. You've got so much real estate that inside the mall that at one time was just a great place to go and shop and see people and just kind of be in this active environment. If you go now, it's not the same picture. A lot of the stores are vacant. It's just not as successful as it once was. A lot of our tax revenue used to come from Vista Ridge Mall. When you have it looking like a ghost town, that's tax revenue that's gone. As mayor, I would want to, again, lend the role to that purpose of how can we generate some excitement again. So
to in other words, rather than raise taxes, encourage business development to increase sales taxes.
Exactly. Okay. So if you look at, they've got this stage that around Christmas, they've got this huge tree, but the rest of the year, the stage is empty. These conversations with the mayor that I talked about, I would love to use that stage. So, for example, the CEO of LifeLock.com, who's been on my radio show several times, called me just a few weeks ago when you had that massive Visa and MasterCard hack, and said, hey, let's have a conversation on the air about that. And I said, what about this? If I become mayor, would you be willing to come to Lewisville? Let's have a live conversation and educate voters about identity theft and some of these issues. He said, yeah, we could do that. So imagine there at Vista Ridge Mall on the stage, we have a show like that. People can come listen live. While they're there, they look around. Oh, I forgot this store was here. So these are things the mayor could do if he's active that people would be interested in. They'd come, they'd want to watch, and then it affects that commerce. People are buying. They're seeing that the mall is once again alive.
Okay, all right. Well, Winston, I've run through most of the questions that I have. Is there anything that that we haven't talked about that you think is important? Any particular issue out there? Or
No, I don't think so. I think I've got a pretty narrow focus on what as mayor. I think the people want an individual that brings big ideas to the table. So what do we bring to the table? And I've outlined a number of mine, and I'm hoping the people will kind of require my opponent to at least name something or admit that he has nothing, and maybe use that in their consideration of who to vote for.
Okay, all right. Well, Winston, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm taking a chunk out of your work day. I do appreciate it. And if I have any more questions, I'll get back to you.